think that the way it happened last year, you can see it's a motivating thing. I think it goes without saying. I think he's shown it himself to us all season. I had no doubt that this is who he, would be. I think, sometimes you have a bad playoff series. Believe me, I know how that is. So for him to respond this way, it's phenomenal to see. But my challenge to him and my challenge to Ev is like, you've done it twice, let's do it again and again. Let's do it on the road now. Let's do it when we don't have the crowd. Let's do it when they go on a run and that place is rocking. You know what I mean? So it's a challenge to everybody, not just him, but he's been phenomenal and he's been huge for us in so many different ways.
And then for Jarrett specifically, he took a lot of heat based on the way last year's playoffs went and the comments that he made after.
Mm-hmm.
There were people that were calling him soft. How do you feel like this start to these playoffs has helped start to change that reputation?
I mean, knowing J.A., he probably didn't even see the comments, to be honest with you, now that I know him, because I called him and he didn't answer. He was on vacation, getting his mind right, and you're seeing this paying off. I think it's one of those things where I don't think he's a soft individual. I think people are going to say what they're going to say, and he's a guy that's like, look, I think he said he had no regret saying it too. Like, you stand on it, and like that's what he said. And now he's going to go out there and just be him. And not everybody's built like that, mentally, let alone just what he's been doing. So it's a credit to him. And like I said, I have no doubt, he's going to continue to be this guy. But it's always a challenge. It's always going to continue to be more. But he's a guy that, trust me, he's not looking at what everybody's saying. He goes about his business and does his job at the highest level, and it's great to see that continue, through these two playoff games.
Tom, I'm sure you feel like you could play as a team better, but are you satisfied with the way these two games have gone?
No. I think there's a level that we can continue to improve at. I think the fourth quarter, last 8-7 minutes or so, like, can't happen. You know what I mean? Like, we're fortunate we got the win. We did a lot of good things, but the challenge is we got to fix that. You know what I mean? It starts with me. I hold myself to that standard, and those last 6, 7, 8 minutes were on me. I got to do my job. And obviously I scored when I needed to, made the right play or whatever, but like that can't happen, and that starts with me. And it's great we got the win. We're up 2-0, but we're not looking just to be up 2, looking to be perfect. You know what I mean? And there's no such thing as perfection, but you continuously want to chase it. And if I'm not doing my job, then that's kind of my mode right now. Like I started out great, didn't really do my thing throughout the course of the game. I did a lot of different things, but I could be better for the group, as a whole, and I will be.
Ryan,
do you guys feel like you've rediscovered the defensive identity that maybe you need during these two games?
Yeah, I think this is who we've been. Obviously, there's been ups and downs throughout the year, but when we're at our best, I think that's just being at that level. When we went on that stretch, went on that run. Like, this is who we are, and just continuing to find it through 2 games is great. But it's easy to do it at the crib. You know what I mean? It's not easy, but it's easier to do it here at home. But now I got to do it on the road. Now we got to stay locked in, communicate. We're not having the backing up when we get stops. Got to find a way to quiet down that arena. You know what I mean? And they're going to hit shots that tonight they miss on the road. It's just how the playoffs go. So we got to be ready for that. Defensively, especially communicating, but we're doing a good job. You hold the team under 90 points for 2 games in a row. It's not not a bad thing, but we can be better, and that's kind of the mindset.
How important are Isaac and Harris those elements?
Man, big time. When you can change the different coverages, you can switch, you can drop, you can hedge and show, you can do different things. You can, when you have 2 guys like that, and then on top of that, Isaac, playing the way he played on the offensive end, Karras is the same way. Like, you can do a lot of different things. So I think it definitely allows us to kind of manipulate the lineups and kind of throw different looks at people, right? These guys. So, they are, I would say the unsung heroes of the group just because of what they can bring, to us on both ends of the floor, but especially on defense.
Joe?
Why do you think it's been hard to play offense in this series?
I think, I went through something similar in Utah for about 2 years. When you run the offense that we run, free-flowing, fast-paced, it's when physicality comes about, it slows you down. So now how do you execute? How do you get to your spots? How do you, when you're getting hit, you got to still think through it. You know what I mean? I think that's just something that, it's just natural. It's not something that I see as a problem. I just see it as something we just got to continue to get through. We haven't played for physicality like this all season. I mean, maybe we've had a few games, but like we've always been able to execute. You know, in the playoffs, everything slows down. You know that. So just being able to execute, like I said, that starts with me. You know, I got to set that tone. And we did some good things. You know, I'm not mad at how we played at all, but I just know we can be better. And being able to be the team that pushes the pace, runs, and when teams are physical and, you know, picking you up full court, how do we continue to get to our sets, get to our offense while being pressured? That takes the mental fortitude, and, you know, I have no doubt we have that, but it's just continuing to do it. And, you know, they're a good defensive team. You got to give them credit. We didn't score 100 points tonight. So but I think the biggest thing is just being able to think through that, and that starts with me.
Don, would you just speak to the energy you really brought in that first quarter, not just from a scoring standpoint? You had a steal, you had a block, you were, running out of bounds, trying to save balls and things like that. And just how much do you feel that, your teammates kind of picked up on that and took and ran with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's on me. You know, I mean, like I said the last game, while I'm here, I set the tone, and kind of doing that, and my teammates have my back. You know what I mean? And past 2 games it's been scoring, but like you said, I try to do it in different ways, different facets. Being in my help spots, getting box outs, trying to get to the boards, trying to get those steals, trying to just do everything. You know what I mean? And I think that's just something that I've been, cognizant of, especially in this series, just kind of starting that out that way. And starts with me, the head of the snake, and my teammates always have my back in that regard. But I did it twice, and I got to do it again, and I got to do it again. So.
How about Darius tonight? He got those quick 3 fouls there in the first half, but in the second half, he hit a couple of really big shots when Orlando was trying to make it.
Yeah, like, that's him being aggressive. The threes I was happy about, but it was the drive. He blew past somebody. He drive and he had the layup. Like, that to me was like, all right, now you're being aggressive. Even the floater that he missed, it's like, all right, like, that's what we need. And we had some hiccups in the fourth between him and I that we'll clean up as far as getting into our actions. But it's all part of the process. It's all part of it. You know what I mean? And he's been like I said, we all know the season he's had up and down, but like continuing to have your mental locked in. And when you have 3 fouls, it's easy to kind of get lost in the shuffle and figure things out. But for him to extend that lead when they were making that push to bring it up to 20, 22, like, that's huge.
Mark?
Going off Joe's question, Donovan, the physicality obviously ramps up in the postseason and stuff to prepare because in the regular season just called differently. Do you like, or how do you kind of factor in the unknown of how a playoff series is going to be called versus the regular season? And do you embrace that challenge?
I mean, me personally, I prefer it. I get to push people. I think, having done this, it's my 7th time. I understand, what comes with it, but I think it's hard to simulate, during the regular season, but you can do your best. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, we all know it's called differently, and it's just a fact. It is what it is, and just being able to, and that's why I said, like, we're going through these experiences, in the fourth, trying to play through the physicality, different stretches. Whether it was the last game, it was the third quarter, just being able to get to our stuff. But sometimes you have to go through that. Like, you know what I mean? I've been through it. Max has been through it. George, like, sometimes, like, DG and Ev, the first time doing it was last year. I got to do it again, and now I got to do it again and again and again. So sometimes that's just, is what it is. But I prefer it. I enjoy it, to be honest, because it's hard-nosed basketball, it's playoff basketball. But we'll clean it up. For sure, especially playing through that. But you give them credit. We knew this is what it was going to be all week, and there's another level that we can continuously get to.
Good. Gonna wrap it down.
Thank you.